For 3,000 years, this place has been silent, as if it never existed, but tonight, the sands begin to whisper. When the stone cracks, so does time, and the thing that slept within has awakened. Something moves in the dark, not the wind, not a human. The light grows weaker, and a strange breath lingers behind them.
The ochre underneath. It's hidden text.
Those eyes don't just see, they judge, and whoever dares to look back feels their heart grow heavier. When the light dies, what remains isn't night, it's punishment. One touch is enough to awaken the king's eternal sleep. The golden flare blazed like fire. No one knows if it was reflection, or if someone truly stood there. The door closes as if the earth itself just swallowed humanity's apology. This isn't just a tomb, it's a warning. Once inside, no one leaves the same. The first morning after the tomb was opened, no one spoke, only the wind, and the feeling that they had crossed a line that should never be crossed. Through the dust of millennia, light reached a chamber untouched by any living soul, and in that moment, glory and doom awoke together. Gold, gems, and the power of a dead empire. But within every artifact, something still lived. They walked through the stillness as though through a dream, and perhaps, the dream was now dreaming of them. The wooden guardian stands motionless, yet those eyes seem to see, to remember every soul that passes by. A small wound, seemingly harmless, yet it became the first signature written in the ledger of the curse. They believed they were writing history, but in the darkness, history was also writing them. That night, one fell ill. His body burned with fever, while the air around him turned to ice. When he drew his final breath, the light vanished with him. And elsewhere, across the desert, a dog cried out and fell silent. The world erupted. They called it the curse of the Pharaoh, a story born of fear, and kept alive by proof. The first death did not end in grief. It opened the path for the next. Another fell, just hours after leaving that place. No one dared call it coincidence. The next to die choked on endless coughing. The desert kills no one, it merely reclaims what was taken. The charm cracked in half. From that moment on, they knew nothing could protect them anymore. 12 men touched the treasure. 5 years later, more than half were gone, unable to tell their story. Death shall come swiftly, as the wind to those who disturb the king's eternal sleep. A warning carved never to be read, until today. The wind began to howl through the tomb. No one spoke, but all heard the same thing, footsteps behind them. He tried to ignore the rumors, but when he looked at his shadow on the wall, there was another standing beside it. Lights dead, camera burned, wires snapped. Each time they touched what lay within, the darkness reached back. They said it was just reflected light, but light has never been known to look back. Morning light floods through the rock crevice. Archaeologists use pulleys to haul the golden sarcophagus out of the burial chamber. Fine golden dust falls like smoke. 6 men lift the coffin onto the transport truck. Metal clanks sharply, sand blows against the wind. One man slips, his knee hitting the ground, blood drops onto the red sand. A wooden-covered truck starts up in the desert. Inside, the relics tremble softly, the faint sound of metal ringing like distant chimes. Close up in the rearview mirror, the driver glimpses a figure standing still in the desert, growing smaller but never fading. The sunlight turns the silhouette golden. Night falls. A violent sandstorm rises. The trucks halt, lights go out. Through flashes of lightning, shadowy figures seem to drift past the canvas. One man, terrified, pulls back the tarp to check. No one is outside, but inside. A statue of Anubis has turned, its face now pointing toward the exit. Slow motion under torchlight, fine gold dust drifts against the wind, seeping into the crate. The driver's reflection appears in the windshield, his eyes turning cloudy. Dawn breaks. The convoy reaches the city's edge. The second driver collapses in his seat, just as the truck stops. No wound, no sound. Workers cover the crates again and load them onto the truck. The camera pans across a roadside sign. Museum receiving zone, -25 kilometers. The golden mask glowed through the canvas, casting light across the driver's neck. For a brief moment, he felt as if someone was sitting right behind him. The museum gates open. The truck stops. Workers unload the crate as the heavy steel doors close behind them. No one says a word. They thought it ended once they left the tomb, but the curse was never buried in the sand. It followed them home. They said it was only ancient fungus, bacteria asleep for millennia, but no one could explain why. They were still alive. Every number began to lose meaning. What they were facing was no longer biology, but something beyond reason. A shadow moved down the hall. No reflection, no footsteps. It lasted only 3 seconds, before fading into nothing. When they found that footage, everything became clear. Someone, or something, was still walking through the exhibit, long after midnight. Then objects began to fall without a touch, as if an unseen hand had grown angry. Every camera died at once. Only the eye remained, the mark of a watching God, now open. They say that night, a guard on patrol saw his own shadow break away and walk the other direction. By morning, he collapsed. The wound was identical to the first man who died inside the tomb. The curse had begun again. Death came without warning. In the heart of a modern city, the ancient curse still knew where to find its prey. From the crack, smoke rose, forming the face of one wearing a mask. No one dared to breathe. No one slept that night. The charms kept shaking, dry rhythmic sounds, like someone knocking from another world. They sent a man to check the room. His camera was already recording before he stepped through the doorway, every second captured. The camera saw what eyes could not, a silent figure gliding past, the lights pulsing in rhythm with its steps. Even the dust aligned itself into the shape of an eye. The feeling of being watched was no longer imagination. The voice didn't belong to the room. Leave, now. The first warning and the last. An unseen hand erased the memory. The photo burned without flame, as if forbidden to be looked at again. The power failed. The only light left didn't come from lamps. It came from golden eyes and perfect silence. The reflection showed someone standing before the mask, but the room was empty. Then who was being reflected? Its presence confirmed itself with a single breath. If this was coincidence, why did coincidence know exactly when we stopped breathing? After that night, they decided to seal everything away. But sometimes, what's locked up isn't in the box, it's within them. They began hearing footsteps in empty hallways while working alone. The last lines in every journal always stopped midway. The camera captured something unusual. A statue had changed its direction of gaze, even though it weighed a ton and was bolted in place. After the chaos, the archive was sealed. Yet the white covers over the relics kept shifting, as if something beneath was breathing. The phenomena didn't stop at the museum. Those who had touched the artifacts began seeing golden figures inside their own homes. Pages opened in the middle of the night. Strange sentences appeared, written in the owner's own handwriting, while he slept. A home camera caught 2 glowing eyes. No reflection, no matching light source, only presence. When reason failed, they turned to faith, to an ancient rite once meant to apologize to royal spirits. They performed the ritual in silence. The flames flickered to the rhythm of the words. No one knew if anyone or anything was listening. Then the wind stopped, and the smoke froze. The golden eyes seemed to shut, The silence grew so deep, they could hear their own hearts. They thought the ritual was over. But the guardian did not fall, it was pushed. Someone, or something, had touched it. That night, the cameras kept rolling. The golden figure returned, moving without heat or sound, a presence not of the living. A new message appeared. The apology was heard, but not accepted. No one admitted to writing it. They decided to return the artifact. The curse couldn't be undone, only sent back to where it belonged. The relics left the city, heading back to the desert. The wind rose to meet them, as if testing the ones who returned. When the box was returned to its resting place, the sand covered the tracks. No one wished to see that door open again. That night, the desert held its breath. Only a faint sound remained, like the last sigh of a king at peace. Everything seemed calm. But in the final frame, a shadow still lingered. Watching beneath the earth, the king remains silent, still. Yet the gold upon his mask still shimmers, as if never truly asleep. And perhaps the curse never disappeared, it's only waiting for the next to open the door.
The Egyptians never wrote curses, they wrote warnings. Every symbol had a purpose, to protect, not to threaten. There's no scientific proof of the supernatural. Yet every archaeologist who's opened a tomb felt the same thing, an invisible pressure. Perhaps it's fear accumulated over millennia, a kind of collective memory. And when we touch it, it awakens.
Inside a sealed environment for thousands of years, ancient fungi and bacteria can evolve into deadly toxins. They can kill within hours. Some samples we recovered from tomb dust have toxicity comparable to modern nerve agents. Those who first touched the tomb wore no protection. Their deaths could easily have been biological, not supernatural. But whether science or spirit Chelishi, the real terror is that this still exists. We have never fully destroyed it.
To the ancient Egyptians, death was not an end, it was a doorway. Touching a corpse was trespassing on the afterlife.
For millennia, they warned, do not touch immortality. But curiosity always outweighs fear. The golden mask was more than art. It was the true face of the soul. When brought into daylight, that soul lost its shelter.
A rumor surviving a century needs no proof, only a believer.
Curses live because we keep them alive. Each time we retell them, we feed them one more day.
3,000 years of spiritual energy compressed in a sealed chamber kinda. When released, it echoes like a voice from the past. Some frequency meters detect magnetic fluctuations around tombs comme l'ours, close to human biosignals. Ancient Egyptians believed the soul existed as energy. If so, the curse wasn't sorcery, it was resonance. Every relic is a fragment of memory. When separated, they search for each other. When they can't, chaos begins. Science can measure almost everything, Hawes, except reverence. And perhaps that's the boundary we have crossed.
The story of the Pharaoh ends here, but another name is whispering through the desert wind, the Queens.